Imagine being told that your child will only have a few days to live. That was the reality of Sarah Gray faced when the doctors told her that her unborn son Thomas had anaphylaxis, a rare condition that prevented the skull and brain from fully developing. Instead of preparing for birthdays, first steps, and family vacations, Sarah was having to prepare to say goodbye before she even got the chance to say hello. Thomas lived for only a few days. Sarah and her husband made one of the most selfless decisions imaginable. They chose to donate Thomas's kidneys. Those kidneys were donated to two children, which gave them a second chance at life. Looking back on her son's legacy, Sarah Grace writes, Thomas's life was brief, but his legacy continues through the lives he saved. Her family's heartbreaking loss became another family's miracle. Sarah has since become an advocate for organ donation and travels across the country sharing Thomas's story and encouraging others to register as donors. She believes that one decision can create hope for countless families. Unfortunately, stories like Sarah's are not enough to solve the growing organ shortage in the United States. Today, more than 100,000 people are waiting for an organ transplant. Every day, patients and their families hope that matching organs will become available before it's too late. According to the Health Resources and Service Administration, about 17 people die each day waiting for a transplant. These are not just statistics, these are parents, children, friends, neighbors whose lives depend on someone else's willingness to donate. So why aren't there enough donors? One major reason is our current registration system. Right now, the United States has an opt-in system. This means that people must actively choose to register to be an organ donor, usually when renewing their driver's license. Many Americans support organ donation but never officially register. Some simply forget. Others, they think they have more time. Some never get around to completing the process. As a result, thousands of potential donors are lost each year. Not because they're unwilling, but because they never signed up. That is why the United States government should adopt a nationwide opt-out organ donor registration system. Under an opt-out system, adults would automatically be considered an organ donor unless they choose to remove themselves from the registry. Every person would still have the freedom to make their own decisions, but donation would become the default rather than requiring action. Researchers show that this small change would have a major impact. Economists Albert Addy and Sebastian Gray found the presumed consent legislation is associated with higher rates of organ donation. In other words, countries that have opt-out systems generally have more available organ donors than countries with opt-in systems. Medical experts also support finding better ways to increase organ donation. Dr. David Klassen, former chief medical officer of the United Network of Organ Sharing, explains that organ donation remains the best treatment option for many patients with end-stage organ failure. Without enough donors, thousands of patients have never received the life-saving opportunity. Some people worry that with an opt-out system, it would take away the personal choice. The concern is understandable, but it is not accurate. An opt-out system does not force you to donate organs. Every individual would still have the legal right to remove themselves from the donor registry at any time. Families would continue to discuss their wishes, and personal, cultural, and religious beliefs would still be respected. The policy simply changes the default while preserving everyone's freedom to choose. Sarah Grace's story reminds us that organ donation is not just a loss, it is about hope.